Hello there. Thank you so much for staying with us. This is the AM show, and I'm Efa Akusia Adeti. So we shall be reviewing a lot of things on the news. But right before I get into it, let me bring you the headlines. We'll definitely start with the best online news portal. And our top story this morning in Kaswa, a boy, age 6, drowns in an open water tank while retrieving football. That's quite sad to hear. Details of that story is on myjoyonline.com if you visit there. And 31st night doom prophecies, be cautious and measures. NPC2 prophets. And as well, Gan West Municipal Assembly shuts down China Mall after building collapse. Details of that is as well on myjoyonline.com. Now, Colonel Festus Abwaje warns against outsourcing African security following U.S. airstrikes in Nigeria. You have been following that story. That is his take on it when Trump on Boxing Day decided to give to Nigeria such a perfect gift on what he calls terrorist attack in Nigeria on Christians. That is on myjoyonline.com. Will prosecute persons who do not surrender illegal arms before January 15th, Dr. Bona. He's been speaking because there's still amnesty for you if you own a firearm and you're willing to give it up. But you have up until 15th of January. There. Now, another story that I'm certain will show up on our table this morning for discussion is ECG can't be salvaged without private investors. TUC Deputy Secretary has been speaking, and they're pushing back at the attempted privatization of ECG as has been emerging with the IMF reports. We shall look at that as well. That and many other stories on myjoyonline.com. If my director is in a good mood, he shall bring you City News. All right, he certainly is. I'll take you to City Newsroom. And yes, of course. So the National Peace Council, as I've been telling you already on my Joy Online, has been as well speaking. It's a 31st night to deliver prophecies tactfully. Story is as well on City Newsroom, and a story about how a young boy or a young child, a 6-year-old boy, drowned in water storage tank in Kaswa. I don't want to hear that Kaswa every day there's something, but certainly there is. And City Post marginal gains as year ends near $1 now, 11 Ghana cedis, just a little over 11 Ghana cedis. And as well, NIMOS raids Galamsey site along Green River and arrest 5 Chinese miners. We shall get into that when Pakusi Shandov as well comes to in studio. But I shall take you as well to BBC this morning. On BBC this morning, Trump hopes to reach phase 2 of Gaza ceasefire very, very quickly, and Ukraine denies drone attack on Putin's residence. Story as well is there. I was hoping to get an update on Anthony Joshua as well for you, but it's definitely somewhere on. Definitely, there you go. Quite a sad one. Tributes to Joshua's team members after fatal crash as a boxer. He is in stable condition, as you can see. You can as well read that story on BBC and many other stories as well. All right, so thank you so much for staying. Let's get into it. This morning we're joined by Rosemond Obeng. She is presidential aide. You shall find her at the office of the president. A little later, we shall be joined by Kwesi Botwe Jr. He's a lawyer, definitely private legal practitioner, and political aide to Dr. Baumia. A lot of matters arising. This morning, minority demands parliamentary probe into BOG Gold Board to $14 million loss. And PUWU as well, TUC I should say, kicks against hasty private sector participation move for ECG, as has been emerging in the IMF report. And we've been asking the question this morning, has Oro achieved its purpose at all? Has it in any way at all? Are you impressed? Has it led the Attorney General or the relevant investigative bodies to at least? Has it brought the conversation of the fight against corruption to the fore? And are you impressed so far? And as well, we shall get into the NPP flag bearership race. First one, good morning.
Good morning, MFA.
How has your holiday been?
It's been good.
Do you guys have holiday at the president?
Oh, yes, of course.
You do?
We do.
How was it?
I marked it with the taste of culture. I don't know if you heard about it.
Definitely did. We reported on
our
that.
Our brothers from Nigeria to join some of them from Ghana. And it was amazing. It was organized by Rex Omar and his team, the Black Star Experience, and we had a very good experience.
I'm glad
There was a runway show, and there was also a food bazaar. So there was just so much fun.
I'm glad.
Intertwined.
Every time I drive past the presidency, I just wonder what's going on there. It must be really tense and very...
It's not tense.
It's not, eh?
It's just so much work, and we see the result.
How would you rate the year generally for you?
I think it's been good, and I'm particularly very proud that I'm part of this administration. Not because I'm having the opportunity to serve in the NDC and serve under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, but clearly with the results that have churned out, we all can attest to the fact that it's been good. It's been quite fulfilling, and I think recently, Info Global Analytics, I think Musa Dankwa brought out a poll, and he said our rating is still, the president's rating is still at 67%. And it's really encouraging, because when you put in the work and people love what we are doing and people can see the result vis-a-vis what they had seen before, it's a bit of fresh air. And it's even interesting to know that he said about close to 30% of people on the other side, I mean the NPP people, admire the work the NDC and John Dramani Mahama have done so far.
Is it not expected that for the first year of a government is some sort of a honeymoon? And especially because the president actually asked for some honeymoon days during his campaign. Is it not expected?
There's a level of goodwill you would enjoy, but we have sustained it close to a year now. I don't think we are still in a honeymoon stage.
What would you say has been the greatest challenge for this government?
I would say that with issues of the oral, people are expected to see people behind bars. We promised them that we are going to ensure that the people who have stolen from us, the people who cared less about the ordinary Ghanaians and looted us, would face justice. And justice it's a process. And so the challenge, I would say, is that we have started the process, but people expect a level of expediency. And I would use this platform to plead with our judiciary that these are special cases. These are unprecedented cases. We've not seen them before. Cases whereby people who were being paid about $5,000 a month could afford over 60 designer bags, could live in a $1 million home, in Chain's home, could live a certain lifestyle that was not there for them before. So people see what has gone on, and they want people to face the full rigors, of the law. But we would plead with them that we are on course. Even if not for oral, we would not have found out what had happened. And so oral clearly is being very effective and is focused, and is achieving a purpose. What have we? We've exposed the rot. It's a process. It's a journey. We are going to make sure that the people who have looted will pay back the money and spend some time in jail. Yes.
Looking back, Ghana's legal system has always been the way it is, really. The ordinary Ghanaian who actually even stole a plantain is also frustrated with the legal system, right? Would you say that the NDC should have been measured in their promise about seeking justice for alleged corruption and corruption-related cases? Would you say that
I
you should have been
think that we did not exaggerate anything. We said things as they are, and the findings we have done, as a matter of fact, it will interest so many people to know that the ones we have uncovered are so little. There are more. So many people, some are already in court, some will be getting verdicts in the months to come. Some are also going to find themselves in the same situation very soon. And so, since we did not exaggerate, but we put the things, what was happening bare as it is, we were quite open about it, and we have been able to expose. I don't think there's any contradiction whatsoever to say that we exaggerated or we should have been measured. What we saw, what we suspected, is what we have finally uncovered through the oral. And people should just exercise a little bit of patience. I want to see people behind bars.
So What's the greatest appetite for this government? Recovery or prosecutions, particularly? Of course, recoveries cannot be under prosecutions, but convictions particularly. Or you want to recover funds?
With the style of the Attorney General, he's looking more at conviction, because I recall that his last presser, he said at the Government Accountability Series that is hosted by Honorable Felix Sukwachi, who is my immediate boss. He said somebody wanted to pay about 22 million Ghana cedis or so for a crime they committed, but he wants the...
Looking to level up your life and business game? Welcome to the #1 podcast for business and self-development, Connected Mind.
Differ with case to case. However, we are interested into making sure that people get the justice, the Ghanaians get the justice they are seeking so much, and the corporates also get punished.
On that, and of course, because let's stay on the oral for a while then, because it's been introduced onto the conversation. Now, other government accountability series, particularly by the Attorney General, the most recent one, he didn't give the details as to what went into why he's rejecting the payments the person is offering. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but I like to think that it falls quite under plea bargain, some sort of. The lawyers can correct me. But what's the difference between that rejection and the acceptance of Cabinet Rufo's payment?
For me, I think that I can't speak for the Attorney General, but I think he has an airtight case with this particular situation, and that is why he intends to go through the full, process in order to retrieve every single bit of them, and not just a part of it, and also make sure the person, finds themselves in jail. And the correlation with Dufour's case, so like I said, I can't speak for him, but I know that he has the best interest of the nation at heart as far as justice is concerned. And I trust so much in his conviction and whatever decision he would.
One of the questions many have asked is that have we quantified or have we put a cost to the Operation Recover or Loot? That how much will it cost us to recover all the alleged loot? And will it be a worthy journey or a worthy cause for us to pursue? We have not seen that yet. But if I hear you clearly, we must trust the Attorney General.
Exactly.
As to this, I'm going to go this way. This, I'm not going to go this way. So I don't want to take the money. I want the person to go through the full trial. But we haven't been able to put the cost of how much per person or an institution or a person who's been alleged to go through full trial. Maybe by the end of it, how much the person was offering would have been, I'm speaking plenty English, but I like to think that.
I think what you're saying is a valid concern. Some are interested in the recovery. They feel, okay, let's just take it and see how we can use it for other developmental projects. So I think it's a valid concern. However, he knows, when you see that, and how he speaks about having this airtight cases, this is a man who knows his stuff. You understand? So for me, I would just say, let's trust him. And let me also send some advice and caution to the people who are victims in this whole thing, who may be facing jail sentence. I would tell them to speak up. I'm saying that because some of them, I think even almost all of them, all the people who are being tried and were associated one way or the other with a potential flag bearer of the MPP. They were actually dining, whining.
Which one of the flag bearer? There are 5 of them. Which one of them?
Yeah, when you even go to, when you even go to their Facebook pages of all the people we mentioned, from Buffer Stock to the likes of Wuntumi, NSS, Gifty, Edubuahin, NSB, you realize that there's a particular connection. It's a puzzle for Ghanaians to unravel, and I know they understand what I'm talking about. Who the potential flag bearer is. They were associated with a particular potential flag bearer in the MPP. They dined with him, and I can even say that the proceeds of their crime or whatever they are being alleged of taking, some went to the flag bearer. So it's important they speak up, because the person is nurturing an ambition to be president, running around, touring the whole country with monies that are supposed to be retrieved. And so it's better they speak up. Perhaps they could, lessen their sentence, or it could do something to them.
What's the
They can't go down alone. So this is just a cautionary advice to them.
What's the confidence level? Because the way I've seen the Attorney General reject somebody who wants to pay certain, maybe return certain alleged stolen funds, will that encourage people to want to speak?
For me, the advice is particularly for the people involved, to whoever they give their money to. You see, according to him, if I recall, he said the money he wanted to retrieve or so was more than the 22 million. So assuming perhaps it had, you go and retrieve it for whoever you gave it to do or nurture their presidential ambition. It could perhaps appreciate, and that could change his mind to take the money. So you never know. So they should speak up. They should speak up before the 31st January.
Okay. Yes. Or before they are potentially elected.
Yes, because the person is nurturing that ambition to be president. And so you cannot go down alone when he's a beneficiary of the proceeds. You can't do that. This is an advice.
Which one of these?
Somebody like Gift Your Worry.
Which one of them? Which one of the presidential potentials?
I've told listeners to unravel the puzzle.
I mean,
and the clue is to go to the social media pages of all the people who have been involved in the crime.
What should we look out for?
What should we look out for? There's a potential flag bearer of the MPP on their pages, splash all over their photos, dining, whining with him. He is the one. They should just speak up and just take some of the money. They shouldn't go down alone. And as a matter of fact, the presidency is a very serious, position, and we need people who are very...
You'd agree with me that we struggle with a lot of mis and disinformation on social media.
Yeah.
I'll take it from you. I'll take it from social media. I will trust if you say the name.
I won't mention the name, but I have told them to unravel the puzzle. And I know and I trust the viewers of Joy News to do a good job.
Okay, so staying on oral, oral in itself, and the later part of this year, the conversation about Office of the Special Prosecutor, because of course in Ghana, when you think of oral, you definitely will think about the Office of the Special Prosecutor, because its core mandate to really interrogate or investigate corruption and corruption related. In fact, that comes to me more before the Attorney General.
Yes.
When I think of corruption. Now, if you look at the NDC and the campaign they waged with oral, and get into the latter part of this year, I mean, of course, you've just been in power for a year, and the conversation about the Office of the Special Prosecutor, the suggesting, in fact, there was an attempted, scrapping of it. How do you feel about it? It is a government that promised the fight against corruption. And then there is an existing body that is mandated to fight corruption, whether it is independent, whether it is struggling, whether it has achieved its purpose of it. The perception of having an office that fights corruption, plus the promise of oral. When you heard the conversation around oral personally, how did you feel?
Okay, with the OSP, I don't think we should scrap the office. I say so because we promised a reset. And so if we come and we scrap agencies, then what do we promise Ghanaians?
It means you want to provide a better one. Oh.
No. So what do? We reset to make sure that they function properly. Those who are not functioning properly. So I think that with PCA Jabin, the issues he's having, it has to do with his persona and his approach to some of the issues. He's not handled them well. He speaks about not having the balls to, call Oforiatta out when he knew very well that he was leaving the country. And so you've exposed your inefficiency. You've exposed your inability to deal with the issue with the interview he granted with KSM. So clearly, with the Office of the OSP, it is not a problem. I think that it should be rather reinforced, so that we can achieve our purpose of resetting some of our agencies. And OSP's office...
Would you not say that was transparent instead?
That was what?
Transparent.
To speak to us.
transparency on how he's either struggling or not struggling.
And you do that after the person is now a person at large. You don't do that. You speak to Ghanaians when it matters the most so that we see what we can do to help.
Do you appreciate the challenges the Office of the Special Prosecutor faces? If you look at the mandates, because of course it looks like the Constitution gives it the mandate, but still puts it under the Attorney General.
But the point is that you have prosecutor, you have the ability to prosecute people. So I don't think you have too much excuse. The Attorney General is quite overwhelmed with so many things. You get it. So it's important to even offer that level of support, to cushion his office. So if you come with tight cases and say, I'm ready to, take this person on, I think the Attorney General will give you that listening ears so that you make his work easier. Now we have to even start this whole extradition process through the Attorney General. We've wasted so, many months. Just look at the number of people who are expecting Ofiriatta to be here. At that time, I put on my Twitter page, I told Ofiriatta's family, especially the wife, the immediate family, that they failed him. Whenever something happens, the immediate family should be able to call you to order. In any case, you serve your country. If there's nothing to hide, why are you now hiding?
He's unwell. How many times can the gentleman say he's unwell?
We all know that is just a charade. He's just playing with that.
Cancer.
He would even, God forbid, he might just, contact some disease through all this, pronunciation.
To say
the things that he's
calling sickness for himself.
Exactly my point. And
okay,
let's go very immature of him, very childish, and very sensitive of him.
Now the Attorney General has given you hope, has he not? It says that.
Well, that is why I told you already. I have hope in the Attorney General.
Okay. Also, the Operation Recover All Loot Committee flagged dozens of high-profile corruption and financial cases, and it estimated that we can recover $20 billion in potential recoveries. Now, major cases that were highlighted: the National Cathedral project. Let's talk about that. We'll go through it one after the other. But the National Cathedral project, so far? It is the question of, should the president revisit it? Should he leave it? You are nearer to the president. What's he feeling about it? How's he feeling about it?
Well, we are not going to leave this issue because if you decide
the continuation of the project
already,
itself.
I think they put the 58 million in the hole. You see, we need to be very serious in this country. What do we put in the hole? We dig a hole, to put coffins and all that. But when you decide that I'm going to dig a hole and put money into a hole, that is very unfair. That is an insult. We would not leave this issue. The president would let the institutions work. We will deal with this issue squarely. And so anybody involved in it, be it a pastor, man of God, woman of God, if you know that it would turn out badly for you, maybe just start speaking up. It's just so sad. And it is very sad to even think that all these things are happening and we never heard the minority people doing press conference about the $97 million. But they go on useless press conference spree. Now the press conference is more like a hobby for the minority.
That's a duty of an opposition party.
But
so is that pressure?
No, MFA, are they formidable? We've seen opposition parties in this country. When they are serious, when they are putting the government in check, we can see that. But these people are a bunch of jokers.
How so? What would they do for you to describe them serious? For example, the IMF says that we've made losses of 214 billion in the gold board indirected to BOG, because as at now we don't even know where to put that figure, whether it is BOG or gold board. We're waiting for January 5 for Sami Jamfi to address as far as we can understand. I mean, he's been giving us some prelude to his address, but if the IMF has reported this and the minority is asking for a probe, how does that amount to they not being serious?
You see, MFR, and the document in question is about 133 pages. That is a report from the IMF. Okay, and I think the part that really talks about or mentions this figure is on page 23. Your producers can cross-check the very first paragraph. And what is it saying? It's saying that in 2025, through and Quarter 3, losses from the artisanal and small-scale ASM gold transactions component of the Gold for Reserves program have reached 214 million.
Yeah, thanks for the correction. It's million.
% of GDP, mostly on trading losses, but also on gold board off-takers fees. This statement does not say that we've lost anything. Are you listening clearly?
I'm with you. I just want to understand.
Attribute this thing to gold board. In any case, the off-takers fees, gold board does not take it. It is a license buyers. They deal with the people they buy the gold for. So the whole thing, I don't even understand why we're even having this conversation. I'm going to come back to the minority, but it's important to know what the IMF is saying, because we take them very seriously. They are development partners. So for me, I listen carefully to them. In any case, the 133 pages of all the things they were saying, they were just praising us for turning the economy around.
In simple terms, how do I explain to my nephew who's 15 what the IMF says, the 214 million loss? What does it mean? Say it in a different way for me to understand.
All right. So what the IMF is saying is that there may be potential losses, or let me even put it this way. Let me redefine the losses and just say cost incurred. Okay. And this cost incurred may be coming from, the fees, the off-takers fees and all that. Let me break it down. You see, when we came on board, there was a need to ensure that we had more reserves, and at BOG there was a need to make sure that the CD was stable and all that. So the process of getting the gold solely, that is gold board taking that sole mandate and making sure that we get the currency and making sure that we have that reserves at the BOG was very crucial and non-negotiable. So in the process of doing that, there may be times we may have to perhaps discount some of the prices, and it would lead to perhaps operational, marketing, challenges, which were quite technical. So what is happening is not a matter of issues of perhaps stolen funds or somebody has embezzled funds. That is even to say that if after the external audit, after the audit by the BOG, we come up with a comprehensive understanding of what has happened, then we can say that, okay, then it perhaps occurred due to the things I've outlined, the process of making sure that we get the reserves and all that. But it had nothing to do with anybody embezzling funds. As it stands
so when we run a business,
as it stands now, from what they even said, they have not even attributed any lost gold board. No. BOG. So
I mean, because of course we purchase the gold from artisanal and
gold board is even in this hotel, but of course,
but it's not BOG that purchases it directly, is it? It is through gold.
But from what they are saying with the trading offs, resulting in some of this potential losses, it has nothing to do with.
So when
we can't pin it on gold board. Let me put it that way. We can't pin it on.
Who do we pin it on then?
Let's get
so this
the audited. Let them finish with the audited. Bank of Ghana issued a statement and said that we are, doing some auditing. We are going to come out with it. For me, I feel that we can have a better appreciation of this whole thing after the audited reports. Then we can go side by side with perhaps a comprehensive, research from IMF. Then we can judge when.
Isn't that interesting that when the IMF releases its reports and then somehow praises the government, that the performance currently is quite impressive and all that, we're happy?
Of course, and IMF.
But the same IMF
did that in the report. It's a 133 report. IMF praised us,
However, it flags at 214 million. Mm-hmm. And I of course, I've not heard the conversation or the narrative suggesting that it was corruption, it was embezzled, it was taken. It only flags 214. And from my casual understanding, if I understand the system that a gold board operates, gold board will buy the gold from small scale and now it's not direct, all right, but they purchase it and then they sell it at the grade stage where it's not refined, which means that you're buying it at the agreed fee from the artisanal and the small scale miners at the agreed fee. But when you are selling it, you are underselling it because it's not refined. This is before we even put the math together, this is direct, a little bit of loss.
MFA, you know, whenever issues of cost-benefit analysis, what have you, in business, you know, there may be some level of inefficiencies. That may not be deliberate, but at the end of the day, when you assess, when you audit, then you can have a full understanding of where the inefficiencies are. Then you can deal with it. So, you know, losing out with some percentage of a sort in monetary terms or whatever terms they may be, may not necessarily be that there's a deliberate attempt, you know, to siphon funds or anything.
It's that what the minority suggest.
But the minority are calling the head of Sammy James. What are they calling his head for? And you know, one interesting thing about the minority, they don't even read through, decipher through issues. I say so because when you look at the press conference they did they come out with any piece of, you know, information, additional information that could stand the test of time, that could fact check whatever conversation there is? There was nothing like that. It was just a matter of, oh, we had something from the IMF. And the IMF, like I already indicated, what I read from the page 23 of the 133 pages, they didn't even say gold board has done anything. And so you can see that they even lack comprehension. And so they just got up, decided to do press conference to waste everybody's time.
I'll say that comprehension.
They would have been a credible minority if they had come out with something that, okay, we've heard something and we are added on to this information. And we feel that based on this, this has gone wrong or that. But it was just mere, it was like a fantasy because they've developed that appetite to always be doing press conferences. You know, after their numbers reduced from 137 to, I think, is it 88 or 87?
I like to think it's 87.
Yes, and I think they get bored quite often. So they always want to entertain themselves with this kind of, you know.
But this press conference got Sammy James to issue a precursor to his January 5 report that he will be presenting to us.
Yeah, you see,
he gives a breakdown.
You can't take away the fact that it has generated some level of conversation. And Sammy James, you know, respects the media, respects what Ghanaians are thinking. Ghanaians want to hear from the gold because we know that the gold board is a game changer. For the gold board, the country would have been on its knees. Oh yes, for the gold board. So what the gold board has turned things around. Now our city is very stable. Inflation, food inflation is down up until about over 32%. Inflation itself is now single digit to 6.3. And now even our reserves we've even exceeded our reserves at BOD. And even the IMF commended us for that we've exceeded our reserves. So you can see the turnaround. So instead of us to be clapping for this gentleman for spearheading the vision of the president, they have just decided to downplay his intellect or whatever he's doing. And most importantly, to downplay the gold board because they know that the gold board has been the game changer. The gold board took us from the ditch we found ourselves. Let's not kid ourselves. We were practically crawling the economy. But for the gold board, we will not be where we are today. So they just want to discredit us because you know that after a year, we are going to review what we've been able to achieve so far, what we've been able to do so far.
Generally,
so
or for
they
the gold
just
board.
Want to
generally or for gold board.
Oh, generally, all that we've been able to do. And this is a game changer. So they want to just come in to just completely rubbish what Gold Board has done. And that is why they just wake up and just do all these press conferences.
Just a casual look at the response from Sammy Jamfi yesterday. It doesn't seem to want to deny the losses that the potential, or I also heard that one of your members in parliament who is part of the economic committee saying that it is transactional losses. So many terms have emerged since the IMF report. It doesn't seem to want to discredit. However, his response seems to bring to my attention that it is as if the minority who delivered that press conference do not have both the moral and policy right to want to talk about that loss, because what he did was chronicled nearly all the losses that had happened from the time that the Gold for Reserve, the Gold for Oil program had started. And I think he started from 2023. So whilst we wait for the January 5, it looks as though he's not saying that there are no losses, but he is juxtaposing his losses to the previous losses and thinking that if anybody must talk about losses, it shouldn't be the NPP. Ask a question. If it was a CPP calling for a probe, would it make you feel better? Would it make the NDC feel better?
MFR, let's even assume they are credible opposition, which we all know they are not. Let's even just assume. I think it's in their right, it's in their democratic right to, air their views on issues if they feel, there's something wrong. But we will not even be tempted to even go into the mess they have created. So let's just stick to what even the issues are. If you remember or recollect, I said that you can experience or have inefficiencies at a point in time. Once there could be operational, technical, even marketing, inefficiencies, which could lead to a loss. So it's not something that, at the end of the day, after our audit, if it comes up that there are some inefficiencies or losses, we will take it in good strides and do better. Especially because I said that Gold Board has been a game changer. And so I don't know who said it's transactional, but I would not even say it's a loss. I told you initially, I'll say there is a cost we incurred to make the economy stable. That is, even if it comes up that indeed we've incurred losses.
Okay.
Now it's quite vague, it's quite speculative, and we are still running around with some figures. But I wish that we are done with the audit, then we can move on from there.
Okay. So we've been joined by Kwesi Botry. I'm just going to give him about 30 seconds to apologize for his lateness. Back, Kwesi. Good morning. Happy New Year. Thank you.
After Tesano Junction, so the police should rush there. I didn't see any police officer around. That has caused some serious.
Where is this? Tesano?
Just
where?
after the Tesano police.
Are there any?
Yes.
Is it fatal? Or are there any? You're not too sure.
So I
but thank you for bringing. So the police, if you're listening, just brought to your attention, Tesano traffic. There is an accident. Please attend to it. Apology accepted then.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So much to talk about. Rosemond had started. But so just yesterday, the minority has been demanding a probe.
Right.
It looks as though you're calling for the head of Sami Jemfi. I'm not sure what you want that head for. As well, TUT has been kicking against the private sector participation move by the ECG. That requirement seems to have found expression in the IMF report. Oral as well, we've been asking whether it has achieved its purpose. And then, of course, the NPP flag bearership race. How is it looking for all of the candidates? January 31 is just around the corner, just a few weeks. But let us talk about the BOG, where it started with oral, but we'll get back to it. But BOG and Gold Board is on the table. What exactly is the minority asking for? Especially if I look at what Sami Jemfi has been saying, he describes it as a precursor to his major press or report, January 5. What exactly? It seems as though the minority doesn't have that moral and political and policy rights to even be demanding, looking at the losses that are recorded 2023, 2024.
Thank you very much, MFR. Good morning to you. Good morning to Rosemond. Good morning to our viewers. On my way here, I had the opportunity to listen to Rosemond say a lot of things. But clearly, she has demonstrated a lack of understanding about the real issues. The issues under discussion. She has demonstrated that she doesn't understand the issues under discussion. You see, she referenced the IMF report. The IMF report stated emphatically and clearly, in fact, from what she read herself, that the losses is as a result of trade losses And so it is very disingenuous for anybody to try to cover up the losses with technical or marketing, reasons. The IMF never stated that the losses were as a result of technical or marketing, operations. The report is very clear that as a result of Gold Board's operation, the state has lost $214 million.
Operation is a big term. If you break it down, you would find marketing in there. You'd find
no. The IMF was clear that trade losses.
Okay.
The IMF was very clear that due to the trade losses of the Gold Board, and so MFR, I do not think that it has anything to do with marketing. All it has to do is with the trading and the operations of the Gold Board. The Gold Board is basically to trade. If you look at the act of the Gold Board, it's basically to buy the gold from small-scale miners and to sell it to the international market. They get the reserves and then take the monies to Bank of Ghana. That's all they do. And so it's as a result of trade losses. Simply.
Did we anticipate that Gold Board was going to go into this business without any form of loss at all?
You see, sometimes it's not about any form of loss, but it's about the quantum of loss. My dear sister, operating a business in 9 months and incurring a loss of $240 million, it's not a joke. You realize that the general 2025 budget of the Gold Board in itself was actually $250 million. And in 9 months, they make a loss of $240 million. It is estimated that by the end of 2025, the loss might have skyrocketed to about $300 million, meaning...
Are you mindful of the profit and the gains?
The loss would have been even more than the budget of Gold Board itself. And so, MFR, I think that the minority score is justified. The minority has every right to call for an ad hoc and bipartisan committee to interrogate the issues of the IMF and the alarm the IMF has raised.
How did we estimate the potential losses if we used $214 million for the first 1 year? Let's just say in 9 months, because it was established a little later this year. And so in the next, say, if they're in power for 4 years, we don't know about the constitutional review, the extension of 1 year, but the 4 years, if it's in power, how did you arrive at the estimate of the potential loss, especially because the Gold Board says that it will be introducing new measures, example, tracking, which the minority has been raised and says that they are unable to track the gold, it is illegal gold and all of that.
Right.
If Gold Board seems to implement all of these measures, how would this potential loss then arrive?
For now, they haven't implemented those measures. Until they implement those measures for us to examine and critically analyze those measures, we cannot speak to those measures.
Are you mindful of the gains of the Gold Board?
They are currently hypothetical measures. And
this is not quite hypothetical.
No, they have
potential loss as well.
Come again?
Is this your potential loss estimation? Is it not hypothetical?
No, it's not hypothetical. This is a report from the IMF.
You have it for just this year.
This is factual. This is a report by the IMF.
The 214 is
absolutely.
The 214 is factual this year.
And the IMF is projecting that if care is not taken, if proper measures are not put in place, they are going to incur a loss of $300 million. All I'm saying is that, and if you clearly listen to the minority is only saying that let's sit around the table, let's interrogate the issues, let's analyze why the 214 losses, so that we prevent future, occurrences. That is basically the case or the point of the minority. But I heard my sister describe the minority press conference as useless. I think that sometimes when we get opportunity to speak to the Ghanaian people, we should be very measured, and let's also be very careful not to over exaggerate our understanding about issues, and also we shouldn't seem to also over exaggerate our sense of some discussions. Calling a whole minority press conference useless, I think, is unfortunate. I think Rosemond...
It's just the opposite of useful. It sounds quite, but the opposite of useful. Meaning that it's not useful.
No, but to describe the position of a party as unnecessary, as irrelevant, as useless, it's quite unfortunate.
How would you rather he describe it?
It's quite unfortunate.
How would you rather
she can interrogate the issues of the minority, but not necessarily describe the issues that are...
Have you seen the response by Sami Jemfi?
Yes, I've seen the response.
What's your take?
I think that the response by Sami Jemfi, he says he's going to have a detailed response.
Yes,
with,
this one is quite enough.
So let's wait for his detailed.
But is this one enough to start with?
No, I don't think so. Because
Not
the
at all.
minority has raised a lot of issues, including the fact that one Alhaji Bawa of Bawa Rock Company Limited is actually the sole aggregator for Gold Board. And in fact, my check also reveals that Alhaji Bawa has a government-funded aggregator license and also a self-financing aggregator license. And so it raises a lot of concern about how Gold Board is trying to create a monopoly for one aggregator, and it raises serious questions about the beneficial owner actually of the company. Is the company connected to a politically exposed person? It raises serious concerns that our natural resources
from your
is being
personal
sold by just
understanding.
one person.
From your personal understanding, Rosemond, I'm going to come to you because you just joined us. Is it we're thinking that because Gold Board will be operating a near monopoly system, this is why we are able to consolidate funding or consolidate some resources. Yeah. Is it the fact that if this Alhaji Bawa is, if we do an investigation and we realize that he is indeed a sole or he's also operating monopoly in terms of aggregating, which one is a concern? Him operating monopoly or he being linked to the political status? Which one will be the problem?
Yeah, they are both problems.
If Gold Board is operating monopoly and wants to deal with an individual monopoly.
But you see, the gold market used to be an open market, used to be a free market. But this government...
But we're incurring losses. We're not making this kind of profit.
And now, even with the monopoly, we are still incurring losses.
But if you juxtapose it to when it was an open market.
No, but we are still making losses.
But juxtapose
No, but we are still making...
There are two losses.
No matter how we try to describe the losses, there are still losses.
But there are two losses.
You know what?
This is the quickest way to go from AI beginner to AI fluent in 2026. Watch this.
Agenda 111 hospitals.
You see,
they can recruit our unemployed nurses.
Whilst I agree
recruit our
with
unemployed teachers.
Whilst
and so we shouldn't try to downplay. We shouldn't try to downplay the 240 million.
Not at all. In fact, it's a concern to me.
Yeah.
But my concern as well is that there are two losses presented here. A sudden loss in 2023, 2024, and in 2025. Yes, I see that they're all losses, but I would choose the lesser loss, would I not?
And I'm saying that if you take the operations of the Gold Board and you take the operations of the previous regime, in the previous regime, Gold Board, PMMC didn't have the kind of framework, the robust framework Gold Board currently has. It didn't have the kind of monopoly Gold Board has. Now, Gold Board sits down, they determine prices, they determine who to sell to. You cannot sell your gold without the authorization or without passing through the Gold Board. You cannot do anything gold without the Gold Board. Even with that, they are still making losses. Under the gold for reserves, under the NPP, we all know that there was a novel policy at that time. We all know the challenges, the policy challenges that they went through. But even that, we were able to increase our gold reserves from about 7 tons to about 31 tons.
At a loss of...
Are you aware that despite the operations of the Gold Board and despite the fact that the whole scheme has been turned into a monopoly, our gold reserves have only increased from 31 tons to 37 tons. It clearly raises serious questions about the operations.
The period of 9 months.
It clearly raises serious questions about the operations of the Gold Board. It clearly raises serious questions. And so all I'm saying is that let's allow the parliamentary bipartisan committee to interrogate these issues. They should go into these issues so that we prevent, future occurrences. This is not even a matter of politics. This is a matter of how judiciously we put our natural resources to. This is a matter of how we efficiently manage our natural resources and our gold, reserves. And so we should allow the minority, the parliament to interrogate the issues and bring finality to these matters.
Rosemond, I think I agree with Chrissy. What's wrong with the probe?
Let me correct Chrissy. I said they are not offering a credible opposition, and they are a bit bored, in the House. So they use this press conferences as a form of entertainment.
To be fair, it's been quite an eventful parliament this year.
Yes, so
I really didn't see the boredom.
I don't think I used the word useless. Yes, but they are not really. Then look at the playback, but
you should just apologize, not necessarily.
No. I'll need to watch it too, because I know that I recollect saying that they are not being credible. They are not just being the kind of opposition any serious government needs, So, well, perhaps their usefulness, I don't know, but I didn't say they are useless. That word, we may have to go for a playback.
If I didn't catch it, to have you retract as well.
Yeah. Oh, I would.
But the probe.
Retract
But the probe. The probe. The bipartisan probe. Is there an issue with it? They're calling for a probe into this losses.
We are in for accountability. We are not afraid of a probe. As a matter of fact, personally, I want, the probe to be done because I know there's nothing.
Okay.
We are not hiding anything.
Okay. Let's still stay with the IMF.
So we are in for the probe.
So TUC is kicking against the potential privatization of ECG because it says that it looks like it is ECG is making some positive strides at all. What's really the story? Of course, because earlier government promised that it will not privatize. It says that some operations of ECG, it will consider private partnership. I don't understand what the IMF said, and I don't understand why TUC is kicking against it. Is the government nesting privatizing ECG? I'll take it from you. Yes.
Okay, so we all know the challenges that ECG faces, issues of inefficiency, issues of inability to pay their workers. The issues are on and on and on. Issues of illegal meters. The issues with ECG are endless. And so the whole idea of privatizing ECG is a conversation worth looking at. It's not bad in its entirety. In any case, my brother here and his party, they even had the idea to also, privatize the ECG, but with a bad intention. Theirs was a little bit skewed to enrich a few, group of people. And so that was perhaps what even gave that distaste for privatization. So the people who are calling for the kind of pause or we're not hastening the whole process of privatization, perhaps are saying that out of fear. Because they saw what happened with the PDS. But I would encourage them that our government is a very transparent government. We all know that we are very open to issues. And we always seek ideas. We always jaw and talk with stakeholders, the people who matter, the people who have views about an issue.
So indeed, government is nesting the idea to privatize it.
No, the point is that the issue of privatizing ECG is something that I already said. It's worth looking at, and I don't think it's bad in its entirety. But there's a fear because of what has happened before in the past. And so if TUC is saying that, no, don't hasten, nobody's going to hasten anything, because in any case, if that conversation progresses and if it has to take place, most definitely, we are going to do it in full consultation of everybody who matters. And so if that time comes, it is going to be more of a collaborative, effort towards ECG. And there's no way whatsoever that we are going to, in any way, say that, well, we want to privatize ECG, but just one company should come and bid for something. No. Even if that time comes, it's going to be open. Are you following?
I'm with you.
Exactly. And so it's not something we shied away from. Even after we won the election, the president, met with them. I think, I'm trying to, is it WHO? No, there's a group he even met. I'm trying to recollect. They were having discussions.
Okay.
He came up and he said, it's something that we could consider. Okay. However, the fear with the TUC, the fear they have expressed is something that we are going to listen to them. Even if we have to do it, it's not going to be hasted.
Did NDC kick against PDS?
The NDC
yes.
Against PDS?
Yes.
Well, let's just look at the end game. What happened with PDS at the end of the day? So let's just skip the script. What happened? At the end of the day, everybody knew that this was a bit of a shady deal.
In every privatization,
yes,
in every privatization, though, Rosemond, PDS I can reference. In fact, I can even go a little further. Ghana Telecom. There are many privatizations that have happened where it looked all good, but eventually it hurts the Ghanaian people even more.
Yes, some will even lose their jobs. I understand how some of these things can play out if we don't do broad consultation when that time comes.
Maybe the question I should be asking is that if it is a requirement by the IMF, then it means that it was already looming. It's not the idea of the NDC. Because where I'm getting at is that the NDC promised that it will not privatize it. It only said it would engage on the chain, on the value chain, it would engage certain form of private partnership. But the IMF is saying that by the end of 2025, which is just tomorrow, there won't be privatization. Kwesi, have you seen the IMF report? Maybe I'm quoting it wrongly.
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
But it wasn't part of the IMF conditions. Let's just get that point clearly.
Okay.
And also, the question you asked, Rosemond, the government has started taking processes to privatize ECG. In fact, they have appointed a transaction advisor to privatize ECG. And in fact, if you look at the TUC and the Public Utility Workers Union, their statement, let me just read, I think, paragraph 5 of their release. They said, "We see this move as being influenced by external interests, seeking to take control of a strategic national asset for the benefit of a few individuals rather than the interest of Ghanaians." So according to the TUC, this whole scheme of privatizing ECG is just to benefit cronies of this administration and not in the interest of the larger,
Why would I take why would I take TUC's position? Why not stick to the IMF?
Because it's TUC that is kicking against it. You introduce the topic like TUC is kicking against the privatization.
Yes.
And so we have to stand with the Ghanaian people. The TUC are, a body of workers. They are workers union. And they are blowing the alarm that cronies of this administration, cronies of Rosemond's government, cronies of the government she's proud of, are planning to privatize ECG for their personal gain, are planning to privatize ECG for their personal control. And it's not in the interest of this country. In fact, when they were in opposition, they kicked against privatization of the ECG. President Mahama, on countless occasions, admonished why and gave cogent reasons why ECG shouldn't be privatized. And so, my dear sister, what has changed? Today, they have rather appointed a transaction advisor trying to do that in an opaque manner. They didn't even announce it to the Ghanaian people that they were appointing a transaction advisor to privatize the ECG. But for the TUC, before we realized, this government would have privatized ECG without even the knowledge of Ghanaians.
I find it hard that it won't be a requirement of the IMF.
For
the privatization of ECG?
No, it wasn't a requirement of the IMF. If you look at the staff level agreement reached by the government of Ghana and the IMF with the SWAL administration, it was never a condition to privatize ECG. But for all you know, in fact, it is important to also state and also to alert you that this government has extended the IMF obligations or the obligations they have with the IMF. For all you know, they introduced this.
When you say extension, what do you mean?
This clause. They had an IMF agreement. Mm-hmm. It got to the point where the agreement was expiring. This government went to IMF to seek an extension of the agreement. And so, for all you know, I'm just saying for all you know, it is part of the new agreement they've reached with the IMF. And
which will mean that it will still be an IMF requirement then.
But not. No, you see, your question.
But not for under the previous government.
Under the previous government, because your question sought to create the impression that there was a condition under the previous government, but that's not the case.
Rosemond, we need some clarity. That's this privatization. Is it just been purely nursed by the current government, or directly or indirectly the IMF seeks it? Especially because, of course, the energy sector has been saddled with challenges, and so if I see the IMF making a certain requirement, I would not be surprised. But what I would be surprised would be that the government's making one promise and then kowtowing to a requirement.
Whatever is likely to happen will be a private sector partnership. It's not going to,
it won't be a complete takeover.
Yes, and we have challenges with ECG. The losses then efficiencies are just too much.
They've existed. The ECG's challenges existed years. Yes, it's not
We
new.
need to do something about it. We cannot just leave the status
But
quo.
we've attempted privatization before.
And that is what I'm saying. That is what.
So basically, we should trust this government that its privatization, whether partial or full, will be better.
You know, attributed something. He projected his fears on me.
What are those?
What they did with PDS, he projected it. He sought to project that on our government. But we are a very transparent government. What they decided to do for a few Latin mafias, together with
I'm not projecting anything on.
No,
the
point
TUC.
is
No,
that,
relax.
Relax. No, you not interject when I'm talking. So I'm done with my submission. Then you come in.
MFA has given.
Okay.
So who is on the floor now? Or we go on break?
You would respond. Just notice.
So you,
okay.
please be a gentleman.
Thank you. He's always been Rosemond.
So you keep quiet when I'm.
Let's not go personal.
Okay.
You don't want to go personal with me, so please let's keep it. Let's.
Okay.
All right.
Let's
Okay.
keep the.
Okay.
Yeah, so he sought to say that TUC is scared it will be given to my party and their cronies. He made that assertion, right?
He didn't seek to. If you read a statement by TUC, TUC projected it fears.
But he endorsed, that or maybe entrenched that
the position of TUC. So he didn't project it then.
Well, but he projected, but he added a lot more to it, you see. And the fear is because of what has happened in the past. You understand, with the PDS. So now people hear anything.
But why do we not know anything about this but for TUC? Why did we not hear? Even as a journalist, it feels like it's been sprung on me.
Nothing is being done. He should give me, I want him to give me that evidence to ascertain the fact that we've kickstarted anything. I would really be grateful if your producers could help us.
Can your producers project TUC statement, TUC and the public utility workers?
So what she is saying is
that the statement categorically mentions that your government, it clearly means that maybe you are not even part of the decision makers of your government, and that you are only inflating your sense of importance in your government. Because the statement clearly mentions that your government has appointed a transaction advisor, and that is why the TUC is kicking against the move. So if you sit here to ask me, if you sit here to ask me to provide my evidence, clearly it means you haven't even read the TUC statement, and you are supposed to be here to be representing the government. The government that has appointed a transaction advisor to privatize ECG, and you ask me to provide them. I am not under any obligation to provide any evidence.
So I like to think that she says that there hasn't been any.
About the TUC, have you read the TUC statement? They should project the TUC statement for her to read it.
Well,
maybe she hasn't read the TUC statement.
In fact, I am even back to the IMF. I have just quoted
the TUC statement.
I am back to what even the IMF says.
Right.
Right. If TUC statement is in dispute.
Right. The TUC statement is not supposed to be in dispute.
Here on this table, it is.
No, it shouldn't be in dispute.
But of course,
it shouldn't be.
Your producer should.
No, your producer should do as honest to project the statement.
As for the statement, I have it right here.
Absolutely, you can read the statement.
And I am saying that.
So it is not in dispute that this government has appointed a transaction advisor. I am not the one saying it. It is the TUC saying it. So if she doesn't know, it means she is not on top of the issues relating to this government.
I mean, you don't
because I'm not the one saying it. I am not the one making.
To be on top of every issue.
No, she's supposed to be on top of the issues because she's here to represent the government. And so if the TUC is red flagging, a transaction that her government is undertaking, she's supposed to know and not to come here to ask me to provide my evidence. Am I the transaction advisor for
I'm just going to put the statements up now and we'll read it together. We'll arrive at a conclusion. Let's have the statements shortly. I'll put it up there. But what even gives flesh to that statement, Rosemond, and which I'm concerned about is that but for the IMF report, which actually is where the TUC is taking its distress statement from, that there is some sort of privatization. In fact, now I don't know whether to say it's private-government partnership or it's privatization.
It's a partnership.
It's a partnership. On which level? For ECG, on the value chain, which level would we likely to be seeing this partnership? Is it at the revenue collection level? Is it at what point? At what the metering level? At what point are we? And reason why I'm also quite unsettled is the fact that but for the TUC, but for the IMF, we have not seen any official indication from the government. This is my concern.
Okay, so maybe before I speak to your question, and he has sought to just attack me my personality and my persona. And when he came here, he said, "Please don't attack
you. I haven't attacked.
No, because I'd let her land first.
Because if I want to attack you, I'll go frontal. But I haven't attacked her. I haven't.
Stay calm. I want to hear her first. She must make her case before we arrive at what I haven't. Attack.
No,
but you might even heard her say anything yet.
Because he clearly said, "Please don't attack me."
I haven't said you shouldn't please attack me.
He said at a point in time,
but I haven't attacked you.
I was about to say something. He just interjected, "Oh, please don't attack," because I
put him to order. He won't interject again. Because he don't interject again.
You understand? And now he just sought to attack my persona. Tell me that I'm ignorant. And what makes you think you're intelligent?
Okay.
So he said that. So I didn't want to interject. So I wanted you to quickly come in. That you cannot call a lady ignorant.
I'm not sure I heard ignorant.
He said that.
Okay.
I think you missed that. But I didn't want to, mess up. Because I'm a lady, I didn't want to, mess up the whole show.
So Kwesi, if you said she's ignorant.
Do I have the right to respond? Do I have the right to respond?
Please respond, and I'm going to go to the statement shortly.
But I haven't said she's ignorant. And if I want to tell her she's ignorant, I'll tell her to her face that she's ignorant. But in fact, now that she has drawn my attention to the point, she's ignorant of the Public Utility Workers Union statement. She's ignorant of the fact that her government has appointed a transaction advisor to facilitate and to advise on the privatization or the private, the private sector participation of ECG.
Let me ask.
So she's ignorant of that fact.
Let me ask a
question. And I'm not scared to tell her to the face that she's ignorant of the fact.
Before we read the statement,
right.
Let me ask the question. Mm-hmm. Are you concerned about the source of TUC's information?
No, I am not concerned.
You're not. You stick to the TUC statement.
I do not have any basis to doubt TUC.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you haven't seen the statement, Rosemond, I'll come to you. And of course, when Kwesi says ignorance, I doubt it's just a personal statement. It says that you don't have the particular information.
In fact, MFA, interestingly, she actually went ahead to actually ask what makes me think I am ignorant.
These are two different issues. You should let us.
No, you see. I'll let it slide anyway. I'll let it slide.
Right.
That if you call me, what makes you think you're intelligent? That's why I asked him. That was the question
I'll let it slide.
Okay, we'll answer that question. But that question is not allowed to be answered. Okay, let's go. Public Utility Workers Union of TUC Ghana. I'm going to have to be... Okay, so the attention of Public Utility Workers Union of TUC has been drawn to media reports of government's intention to appoint a transaction advisor for the transition of
Please take it again. Please take it again. Take the first part.
Are you distracted?
No, I didn't hear what you...
Stay calm. Yeah. Okay.
Take it again.
The attention of Public Utility Workers Union of TUC Ghana has been drawn to media reports of government intention to appoint a transaction advisor for the transition of the Electricity Company of Ghana into private sector participation before Christmas. Now, this announcement came despite the ongoing turnaround program agreed by the Ministry of Energy, and it's being run jointly with Management of Workers of ECG, led by PUWU-TUC. This program was the outcome of constructive engagement with the Minister of Energy and aimed at reviving ECG through internal reforms rather than privatization. This came on the backdrop of the Minister's assurance of non-interference in the activities of the power distributor. Clear deliverables tabled at the meeting as the roadmap were accepted for implementation, which we are religiously following. It comes as a surprise, such an announcement of the appointment of transactional advisor. We hereby wish to express our strong opposition to the move for the appointment of a transaction advisor as announced by the Minister for Energy. You're a lawyer. I want to understand who a transaction advisor is when we come back to you. Over the past 5 months, ECG workers have demonstrated an exceptional level of commitment, discipline, and dedication to the turnaround agenda. As a result of these collective efforts, 1, revenue collection has significantly improved. They didn't give me data to that, Kwesi. Secondly, they also say that system losses have been drastically reduced. I don't have data to that as well. Power supply has been stabilized for the benefit of Ghanaians. I can't say that for my area, actually. And these record gains have been acknowledged by high-profile government officials, including the Honorable Minister for Finance, Dr. Kasia Lutufosin, during the presentation of the 2026 budget, November 13, 2025. The Majority Leader, Honorable Mahama Yariga, on 27 November, on the floor of Parliament and the Honourable Minister for Energy and Green Transition. Okay, so they have actually provided sources as well. It's quite a lengthy one, but I like to think the area of focus has been brought to your attention.
Absolutely. So now we know for a fact that this government has appointed a transactional. In fact, this statement was released on 23rd December.
Yeah. So to bring the conversation home, what is a transactional advisor?
So
do you want to come in? Okay.
Go back to the statement, please.
Please draw it. Okay, great. First paragraph?
The first paragraph.
My job as a news anchor is coming to play this morning. Okay. The attention of a Public Utility Workers Union of TUC Ghana has been drawn to media reports of government's intention to appoint...
Oh, hold on. Government intention.
Okay. So it hasn't been appointed
And when you
yet.
say somebody has been appointed, are you not lying?
Okay, Kwesi. Intention.
The statement clearly makes the point that this government is doing everything in secrecy. And the statement is blowing the alarm that the government is undertaking steps to appoint a transaction advisor. And this statement was on 23rd December.
Before
please
Christmas.
conclude the statement. The statement says the government plans to appoint
Before Christmas. So we have to then go to Rosemond and ask, have there been
which season are we
He
in now?
said that we have appointed a transactional advisor. That's what he said.
Relax.
I'm very relaxed, Kwesi.
Relax. The statement was issued on 23rd December.
Yes.
The statement raised concerns about government planning to appoint a transaction.
Planning to, he's not changing it.
Oh, can you keep quiet?
He's not.
No. I moderate this.
No, can you keep quiet? What's happening?
No. It's
what
okay.
kind of indiscipline is this?
No.
This is indiscipline.
The interjection
It is
draws my
indiscipline.
attention. It's okay.
Please.
I will moderate it.
Please.
I don't find it indiscipline. I do not find it.
MFA, this statement was released on 23rd. The point I'm making is that TUC raised the concern that government's intention to appoint a transaction advisor for the transaction of the ECG into private sector participation before Christmas. Which season are we in now? Hasn't Christmas passed?
Yes,
Have you seen any official communication from government announcing to us that government has not appointed a transaction advisor? But for this statement, would we have known that government intends to appoint a transaction advisor?
Which means that, but for this statement, so as of now, the government has neither confirmed or denied. Government has neither confirmed or denied whether there has been, right? So should we take the silence as true?
No, until there is an official rebuttal from government, the statement by TUC stands.
And Rosemond is here. She's just from the presidency. And
in the first place, she didn't even know about this TUC statement. She didn't even know about it.
We have appointed.
She didn't even know about
and that is a lie.
No, she didn't even know about the conversation of the appointment of a transaction advisor.
But she was clear to say that.
Until you read the statement. She
but before that, Kwesi, hang on.
You said that.
Hang on. Please go on.
You said that we have appointed a transactional advisor. And I said that is false. So where are you getting that from?
But so this accusation, though, the government has not disputed.
They said government intention. Have we appointed anybody? Who is the said person? What is the person's name? So you cannot just throw out a lie.
But TUC, but are you not concerned that TUC releases the statement from the 23rd of December?
We value whatever they have to say.
And
you're
not concerned?
No, we value their opinion on issues. We want them to be very comfortable with government so that we can come up with the best outcome. But if somebody issues a statement and say, government has an intention to do something, and you sit here and say, we have appointed a transactional advisor without a name, and you expect us to just take it this way and go by it. For me, I think that is a blatant lie. So that is not the point.
Rosemond, here's my understanding of both of you and what Kwesi is saying.
All right, okay.
TUC is not just somebody. That's a whole body.
Of course.
And it's not just TUC here.
In fact, Public Utility Workers Union as well. Okay. They have raised a concern. If the government does not come to dispute this, because the government is, I've seen the practices. We judge a person by their best practices as well, right? You will respond to an issue, of course, if it doesn't have the facts, and if you have the facts. So they have made these allegations. The government, up to today, 30th, has not disputed it. What in the practice is that we impute the truth of the statement because you have not disputed it. The government has not disputed it. Do you see what I mean?
MFA, let's just stick to what happened. What has created this, chaos? He clearly said that we have appointed a transactional advisor. That's what he said. without a name, nothing. So I asked him, why is a transactional advisor? Then he referred to the TEC system, and that is why we had to, pull out this. And clearly, if there's our attention has been drawn to a media report of government intention, and you just say in vague that we have appointed somebody, that is a lie.
In fact, so the statement continues to say that, and I mean, now we're actually interrogating line by one line. Right. It says that it comes as a surprise, such an announcement of the appointment of transactional advisor, which now seems to confirm that there has been a certain announcement.
Read the full context.
Clear deliverables tabled at the meeting as the roadmap were accepted for implementation, which we are religiously following. It comes as a surprise, such an announcement of the appointment, there's no of, but transactional advisor, which suggests that there is. Maybe we don't have the name yet. You see, because of course...
we haven't appointed...
You have not?
No,
okay.
let's state...
What should we do with this statement, Rosemond?
An introduction of, a letter is very important. There's an intention. So they want government to look at their contents. That's what they are trying to say.
The introduction, the body, and the conclusion are the same for me. But what should we do with the statement by the Public Utility Workers Union?
So there's a need for broader stakeholder consultation. We're going to do that. We're not going to run away from it. We've always been very transparent. And so my issue, and the fact that, let me also say this, I didn't talk about TUC statement. Does not mean I'm not aware about what TUC, the letter they've issued. I think that is very unfair to me for him to have said that. Because you are telling me we've appointed a transactional advisor. So I need a name. I need some further details. And so I was expecting him to refer me to something other than this letter. I get in the point. To suggest that this is the name of the said person. And so we have progressed, the conversation. But now we read the letter, you refer me to TUC. So for you to tell me that I'm very ignorant about this TUC statement, I think that is...
I want closure.
Very disrespectful, and that is very, very unfair to me. But I don't expect him to apologize.
MFA.
I
want closure on this particular matter.
Please, he tells me not to interject when he's talking. So please just allow me to finish.
Rosemond,
yes.
I want closure on this statement. As of now, right? At 12 o'clock, I want to update my audience. I want to know what to do with this statement.
It's subject to consultation. And so you're going to hear from us.
Okay.
Thank you.
Proceed.
She makes the point that I was supposed to give a name of the transaction advisor. In the first place, she was disputing the existence of, a certain kind of move to appoint a transaction advisor. This statement has exposed your thoughts. Now you are expecting me to give a name. Have I ever carried myself as a presidential aide to know what happens in the Jubilee House? And to know the kind of advice the energy minister gives to the president, and to know the kind of consultations that is going on at the Jubilee House. You go around singing the Hallelujah chorus and carrying yourself everywhere as a president.
She doesn't sing Hallelujah. She's a presidential aide. She doesn't sing Hallelujah. Hallelujah is sung in churches in the bedroom.
No, I'm saying that she's going around singing the Hallelujah chorus, that she's a presidential aide.
I understand what you mean, but I want you to use the appropriate words. She is. She's not. She is.
So if she's a presidential aide, then she has to know who the transactional advisor is, not me.
So you're asking
Am I part of the decision makers?
So we're asking. So she says that it's subject to consultation.
He who alleges must prove.
We are not in the court of law.
No, you said that we have already appointed.
Stop misapplying legal purposes.
No, you said that you've already appointed the person.
Who alleges what? TUC has made a claim.
He already said that he's already appointed the person. So I want us to stick to that.
TUC is making the categorical point.
You said that you already appointed the person.
You do not know.
So why are you running away from the person's name? So provide a name if you say we've appointed somebody. Simple.
Right now, though.
Provide a name. Am I the one who appointed them?
But you are the one who started to say
right now.
Are you not the one who is always proud of this government?
I'm interested in the performance of oral.
Interested.
Rosemond had started with oral before you came in. I'm interested in oral.
I know that.
Let's end.
You gave me closure. You said it's subject to. So we're good. Yeah.
The point is that, you see,
let's go to oral.
Very well. On my way here, I heard her make some unfounded allegations
About
a certain flag bearer, one of the potential flag bearers, took monies or enjoyed give to your wives, proceeds. That's the exact.
No.
What did she say? Kindly help me.
Well, Rosemond is here, but what my ear caught is that persons who are being investigated should encourage them to speak up because they're close to one of the potential flag bearers, and that if they're going to go down, they're not going to go down alone. This is the crux of what she's saying.
My point is very simple here. If she's unwilling to mention the name of the
I demanded.
then
You heard that I did.
That statement. Because you cannot come and sit here, cast unnecessary insinuations, and label people. Are you aware it is even a criminal offense if you enjoy from the proceeds of crime?
Of course I do.
It's a criminal offense.
And that's what she's saying.
And so you cannot come and sit here to impugn criminality on one of MPP's potential flag bearers or flag bearer aspirants and go scot-free. If you do not have the audacity and the temerity to mention the name of the person, you should retract that statement.
We don't take audacity and temerity to court, so she will go scot-free with that.
No, but she is making an insinuation that somebody enjoyed the proceeds of crime. And I'm saying that if she doesn't have the audacity to mention the name of the person for us to interrogate the issues, then she should do the needful by apologizing and by retracting that very statement. But you see, on the matter of oral is clearly a matter of law. This government has performed abysmally regarding oral.
How so?
This government has successfully turned prosecutions into performances. This government has clearly turned justice into a tool for convenience. Because when these people were in opposition, I don't know if at that time Rosemond was part of them when they were in opposition or she wasn't part of them. I don't know where she stood at that time. But when they were in opposition, they made a lot of noise about members of the erstwhile administration stealing monies from the public purse. They made a lot of noise about former appointees stealing from the public funds or the public purse. Fast forward, it's almost a year now. A number of people are in court. Clearly, if you look at some of the cases in court, I do not want to be prejudicial, but in my humble and respected opinion, I think they lack the weight of evidence to secure any conviction. That's the first point. The second point is that even before this government, proceeded to court, they had organized stage performances to pronounce these persons guilty even before, arranging them in a court of law. They decided to shape the public perception about these people, label these people as criminals, label them as thieves, label them as enemies of the state.
The Attorney General rebuts that this happens in other jurisdictions besides the American United States.
In this jurisdiction is unacceptable. However, after making the whole oral noise and planning to recover over $21 billion, immediately these people assumed office. They decided to rather file nolle prosequis and withdraw pending prosecutions against their politically, affiliated persons. In the Segleme housing matter, $200 million. They filed a nolle prosequi. In the criminal matter involving the current Bank of Ghana governor, they filed a nolle prosequi. In the criminal prosecution involving the former COCOBOT CEO, Stephen Opuni, they filed a nolle prosequi.
It's not enough that
so many matters, and if you put all these matters together, in the matters in which the NDC's Attorney General has filed nolle prosequi, has withdrawn charges against their politically affiliated persons, it amounts to $10 billion. $10 billion of the taxpayers' money. In all these matters, they have withdrawn the charges from court.
But the previous government had so many years to.
Then it raises the question as to whether or not oral itself is it a tool for political convenience. Are we trying to reset the law to suit the political architecture and climate of a certain political party?
Well, I'll come to that. But see, does it interest you that, of course, some of these cases that were discontinued, and according to the Attorney General, says that, well, it doesn't seem to have enough evidence to want to proceed. But we also had confidence in the previous Attorney General.
Absolutely. It is. Why is the Attorney General only filing nolle prosequi in matters involving his political cronies? Why is he doing that? Clearly, it's a matter of politics. It's a matter of politics. It's a clear, matter that.
Were there other high-profile cases that were, from the other side that you would have thought that the Attorney General as well would file a nolle prosequi as well for?
Oh,
on top of my mind, I don't see any yet.
In all sincerity, I do not think that the Attorney General would even do that.
Even if there were?
No.
But we can only arrive at the fact that...
in all sincerity, there is a litany of criminal matters pending in court. But he decided to pick and choose which ones to file nolle prosequi in. And
is that his fault or the fault of the provision of the Constitution?
All the ones he decided to withdraw the charges are the ones involving persons, connected to his party.
Would it be his fault? Is it not the architecture of the Constitution?
No,
the power it gives to the Attorney General?
It is the discretion lies with the Attorney General. The discretion lies with the Attorney General.
It's the Constitution that gave that discretion to him.
The right to file nolle prosequi rests with the Attorney General.
It's the Constitution that gave him that right.
Yes, it's the Constitution.
And he wants to use it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The discretion to... the fact that the Constitution gives you a right doesn't mean you use that arbitrarily and capriciously. You have to use that in a way that is fair to all manner of persons. You can decide to abuse your discretion to suit your political party. And that is what is happening in this matter. And so, clearly, MFA, I think that this entire oral scheme is a political tool to witch hunt political opponents. Nobody is against the fight against corruption. Nobody is against the fight against accountability. But our point is that accountability should go through due process, should go through, constitutionally laid down procedures, should go through constitutionally laid down and procedures that respect the rights.
So far, is there any breach in any of the...
The Constitution is clear that the person is presumed innocent until proven guilty. Meanwhile, in this case, you have the Attorney General who, before he goes to court, organizes a press conference and to announce that MFA Adeti, former Joy News TV morning show host, is a criminal and has engaged in a criminal enterprise because he stole 100 million Ghana cedis from Joy News and has bought 10 houses at Oyarifa, 20 houses at...
What a beautiful example.
Whatsoever. Absolutely. That is what the Attorney General does. It shapes the mind of... It looks like you have the taste of purchasing 10 houses at Oyarifa.
If I can afford it, why not?
Absolutely. But when you do so, the Attorney General would organize a press conference to say that because you held a public office, that is why, you were able to do that. But as I learned, back to Rosemond. Back to Rosemond. Rosemond made a point that she's...
You learned in 30 seconds because I'm giving her the rest of the time.
She's advising the accused persons that they shouldn't go down alone. I don't know who exactly she's advising in this matter. But to the best of my knowledge, all the NPP persons standing trial for one or two reasons, I do not think that they would take advice from Rosemond. I do not think so.
Why?
I do not think that they would take advice from a person who has an inflated sense of importance.
How do you arrive at this inflated sense of importance?
But in what capacity is Rosemond advising somebody not to go down alone? In what capacity is
What capacity would a person require to advise
in what
somebody?
capacity is she advising an accused person not to go down alone? In what capacity is she doing so? She doesn't have that capacity. That is why I'm saying that she has an inflated sense of importance.
Okay. Rosemond, you're here. I have a minute and 30 seconds for you.
All right. So, Kwesi could not mention who the supposed transaction advisor is, but is expecting me to mention who the potential flag bearer is. The potential flag bearer who has benefited from proceeds of crime, and people are starting trial. He's expecting me to mention the potential flag bearer's name. In any case, I told viewers to unravel the puzzle, and perhaps if you check your messages, I don't know if you got some names, it could, unravel the puzzle. So when he mentions who the transaction advisor is, I'll mention who the potential flag bearer is.
The message I received said that Rosemond is a very bold person and should be bold to mention the name. That was earlier. Yeah, that was earlier, even before Kwesi came.
Yeah, so if he mentions the person's name, I'll mention the potential flag bearer's name. But he seems to be a little bit peeved about who the flag bearer, the identity of the flag bearer. Is it a case?
Because he thinks that criminality is a perception and that if you don't put a name to it, it puts all the other four, because there are 5 people, right?
He's a bit...
But there's one.
He is a bit peeved. And in a way that suggests he may know who the flag bearer is. And it's a bit close, or I don't know. But
what does it cost to put a name to this?
What does it cost
to put a name?
She doesn't have the...
I am telling them the people who are studying trial...
She doesn't have it. She
women don't have both. Yes?
She doesn't.
Yeah?
She doesn't.
Please talk to me.
Are we on a commercial break?
No, we're listening to you.
Yes, so I have given people the puzzle to solve. I know Ghanaians are very intelligent. That is intelligence. They decided to vote the MPP out. And so I know they know who I'm talking about. And so what can I do? It's an advice.
But I'm Ghanaian and I don't know who you're talking about. I have an appetite to know who this person is.
I don't have any right to advise. You know, advice, if I advise somebody and they take it with a pinch of salt, I won't take it personal. It's fine. That could ease their case. And I'm going to use Gifty Owari, you know, in this case as an example. She's a young lady. I think she has a child she has a young family. And you're telling me that all these monies just went to her. No money. I'm just using her as a case. And in fact, as a matter of fact, all of them are tied with this particular flag bearer. But are you telling me that Gifty Owari spent all that money? So if I'm advising somebody like Gifty Owari to take my advice and mention who that flag bearer is, because that flag bearer benefited from proceeds of the supposed crime at NSS.
It's quite unfair to the other four because you say one. Unfortunately, I would say that it's very unfair to the other people because then we're going to go about thinking, is it this person, is it this person?
Ghanaians unravel the puzzle.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. The time, unfortunately, we're going, actually. Don't be late next time.
As we go, Rosemond clearly doesn't have the audacity to mention anything.
You have said that already.
Rosemond, again, number 2, doesn't know any person. Number 3, Rosemond here, we will not take any advice from Rosemond here because she has an over-exaggerated sense of importance.
Enjoy your holiday.
Yeah, she has an over-exaggerated.
Please stay. There's more on the show.